Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sport Show right here on Smash FM here on a Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, we're currently on the road at the moment. We're out here in Melbourne's West. But of course, let's go up to, of course, our friends up in Queensland in particular and talk a bit about the Ruby series in particular. And of course, for the Tigers, they got over the line in their grand final. Of course, maybe a month or so ago now. And of course, we've got a very special guest from that Tigers team. Who won the Ruby Series grand final, because her name is Tash Robinson. She joins us right now. Thanks, Tash, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
No worries. Well, tell us a bit about the grand final about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so it was actually a really close game up until the last quarter. And for me, honestly, it was so scary because for the grand final, they had all these lights and, pre-game sort of show that we never have for our usual games. The team above us does, the Sapphire team, all their games are live streamed and stuff, but it was pretty different for us. So it was just a different type of nerves, I would say. But yeah, it was goal for goal, pretty much the whole game. And then we managed to pull away. I can't even remember how much we won by now, to be honest. I think it was 6 or 8 goals. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I know this is going to sound a really silly question to ask, but when did you felt the game was won?
Me, I just, for the first half of the game, I really struggled to block out the crowd and sort of the sideline commentators and music that was going on. And then once I sort of sorted myself out and I just decided to sort of turn and let the ball go, and all the players around me gave me the confidence to just, get on with it and do what I normally do. It was sort of probably with about 8 minutes to go, I play goal attack, and the goal shooter, Riley, just had set up a really good hold. So all I had to do was just turn my hips and throw it into her. I knew she'd catch it and sink the goal. So, yeah.
How good was the moment when you knew the final whistle went, and was it a relief or a celebration? Because I think you played the Cougars in the grand final.
Yeah, that's correct. It was a bit of relief because we had won the grand final in the year before. So there was a bit of a target on our backs the whole season. And sort of in the middle of the season, we had a little bit of a slump and we'd come back. We had to get to the grand final the hard way. We were fourth going into it. So we honestly, the last week before the grand final, we had our semi-final on Saturday. Then we had the prelim on Tuesday. We trained Wednesday night, trained Thursday night, and then the grand final was on the next Saturday. So, yeah, I think for me, I just let out a big breath after the game. I was like, oh, we did it. Yeah, and then we celebrate. It didn't sink in for a while for me, to be honest, but yeah, it's hectic.
So the question I want to ask you then is, you mentioned obviously you won it last year, so you were the defending champions going into it, into the season. Obviously, you had to do it the very hard way. You had to play as, I guess, 3 elimination games to win the championship again. I guess, was this year the hardest year of the lot?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely, the competition stepped up massively this year. So our first game of the season, we only won that one by 1, and it was in like the last 2 minutes. And then the second game, it was a draw. So it was totally different because last year it was probably only a race between the top 2 or 3 teams, whereas this year there was at least 5 very competitive teams. And yeah, so it was so much harder and made it so much better when we won the grand final.
Guys would tell us, who was the grand final MVP in your grand final, and tell us and obviously she was from your team. I'm sure it was. How important was she in the grand final?
Yeah, so the MVP for our game was Riley Batcheldor. She was our goal shooter, and she is an absolute star. You just know that she's going to sink every shot. She's very accurate. She presents so well to the ball, and she even gets turnovers in defense. She's just the complete package, and it's an absolute pleasure to play with her in any game. And yeah, she was outstanding.
How good was it to know, you had a reliable goal shooter who can play defense as well, And of course, you're pretty much a right-hand person.
Yeah, it was great. I had a couple of nervous shots at the start and she rebounded them, which is, normally defenders get rebounds these days because they're always turn and block you out. But she got her hands to the rebounds and would sink the shot. And it was, I can't explain how easy it was just to look down the court and see her and be able to release the ball and know that she was going to get it in. Yeah, she's a very special player.
Of course, I can see you got your premiership medal around your neck, which I'll get you to show it soon. But I have to ask, who got to hold the cup? Was it a cup or trophy? I can't remember exactly.
Yep. Good question. So I'm trying to remember. It was actually, the way they do it is that they have the Ruby Grand Final and then they have the Sapphire Grand Final. And the presentation isn't until after their game. So we had to wait about another 2 hours to get the medals and the big trophy. But the captains got to hold up the trophy first.
You might as well tell us a bit about your premiership captain and coaches.
So our captains and coaches, I can't sing them praises enough. So we had co-captains this year, Lily Gray and Maddie Ryan, who I hear you're speaking to later in the week.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so Lily plays centre and Maddie is a defender. Maddie is such a dependable player. She always turns over the ball. And this, I don't know how to word this without it sounding bad, but you just know if you lose the ball, she's going to win it back the other end. Like, I know we shouldn't be doing that, but you can just, she's that reliable that she'll get it back for you. And Lily, she has a tough job of playing centre, which take my hat off to her. It's so much running. But she always gave us some really inspirational pre-game talks, never too over the top or too cliche, said what needed to be said. And yeah, the pair were amazing. And the coaches were exceptional. I feel so lucky to have been coached by Paula and Hillary. Yeah, I've never quite had a coach like Paula. She had a lot of faith in me because just a little mini story. In the last few games of the season, I got moved out to wing attack, which I haven't really played. And I remember just before one of the games, she came up to me and she told me how much faith she has in me, and she said, how much court time have you had this season? And I said, I've played most of the season. She said, exactly. So how much faith do I have in you? And it was just exactly what I needed to not be too scared about playing the new position. And another thing with Paula that's amazing is that if we lost a game and a team beat us because they were good at zone defense, we would rock up to training the next week and she would have invented some sort of drill that would just fix that problem for us. And the next time we face that problem, it would be easy. Like, yeah, just amazing coaches.
You mentioned about the premiership medal around your neck, which I'll get you to show it to our viewers now.
Sure, I'll try and give you a bit of a close-up. That's the one.
There it is. So the question I ask you is, Tash, how long did you wear your medal around your neck for? And did you sleep with your premiership medal?
No, I didn't sleep with it, but we have amazing sponsors, the Carina Leagues Club. They actually shouted us all dinner. So everybody wore their medals to dinner. So we probably had them on until about 9 p.m. that night. So pretty much the whole night until I went to bed.
Now, the question I want to ask you as well, now, obviously your Sapphire Series team did pretty well, I think it was around mid-table they finished. I guess, did they come and support the team in the grand final?
Yeah, they absolutely did, which was lovely. They all had their Tiger shirts on and they had sort of like clappers and, I don't know, pom-poms and all that jazz. They're amazing. Yeah, it's our club, even though there's two separate teams, we're one big family. So, yeah.
Now, I have to ask you this question. I know you're not supposed to do this during COVID, but, when you had a chance to have a photo with the trophy, did you, give a little kiss to the trophy?
actually, I was going to say I didn't hold it, but I did at the dinner because we were looking at all the previous teams that had won. I didn't give it a kiss, but I'm sure Cooley or Maddie or someone would have.
All right, I might ask them later on in the week about that one. So I guess now back to back champions in the Ruby series. I guess what does that mean to you? And has the Premiership sunk in yet?
Yeah, I think now that we're talking about it, it's sunk in. I had to go back and watch the game because when we were playing it, it went so fast. Going back to back was huge. It was honestly so hard this year, and we had a lot of injuries and stuff, and just because of the whole COVID situation, we didn't think we were going to get a season, and then we got an email in maybe May saying that if we did have one, it was going to start in October and go through summer. But because Queensland did quite well with COVID, we got the green light to start, I think it was the end of July, which meant that we had a 6-week preseason instead of the usual 3 months. So I think it was amazing that from even a team perspective, we really bonded well for such a short period of time, had each other's backs and got the job done. So it was really cool to win this year as well.
What made this team so special compared to last year?
I would say that, just like I said about Maddie being able to win the ball back, I think even players that weren't defenders were winning the ball back. If someone lost the ball or threw a bad pass, we didn't sort of all drop our heads and go, oh, like this person's just done this. Like, oh, we would just get on with it and try and win the ball back. And 9 times out of 10, we did it because we were playing for each other and just scrapping and had each other's back.
Now, I'm going to get you to describe each player on your team by positions, if you can remember them all. And you can give us just a brief on each player and how special it was to play with them. And we'll
Okay.
we might as well start at your end of the court.
Perfect. So we have our shooters. So we've got Amelia. She plays goal shooter, and she's like the cool surfer girl. Like, she's so chill and level-headed on court, and she can just sink long bombs and has no worry in the world. She's also very creative and talented. It's really cool just to talk to her. Like, she does artwork. She can hand draw with a pencil. Like, you can give her an image and she'll just draw it and it will look exactly like the image. She's amazing at art. So it's really cool to talk to her about that because I'm not artistically inclined at all. So and then our other shooter is Miss Tilly. She is amazing. She's got her own business. So she sells jewelry and makes it all herself, which is amazing. And on court, she's so quick, and she's another long bomb specialist. I'm probably the only one out of the shooters that isn't known for shooting long bombs. So I'll say it about all the shooters. They're all amazing shooting from range. And like Riley was the other shooter, which I gave you a spiel about her before, so I'll skip over her. She's amazing though. So we've got Madison Cooley, who's another defender. She is such a hard worker and turns over a lot of balls. She's got great long arms and is such an asset to the team and is absolutely the team comedian. She's hilarious. She is awesome. We love her. And then in the other defense positions, we've got sisters in our team, actually. So Lynette and Rihanna Childs are just exceptional. They're both in the Queensland squads and are just menaces on court. They're amazing and so funny and cool as well. And so young. They're actually, Lynette's just graduated and Rihanna is going into grade 12 next year. So for them to be playing such good netball at their age is amazing. I've spoken about Lily. We've got Irene, who plays wing attack. And we've also got Maya, who's a center wing attack, wing defense, jack of all trades. They're both they're so zippy, they're so fast and just so dependable, great on the feeds, and I love playing with those girls. Who else have we got? It would be so bad if I forgot someone, wouldn't it?
I'm sure if you forgot someone, you didn't mean it. So,
yeah.
Now let's talk a bit about your netball journey. Where did it all start, and why did you choose it?
Yeah, so for me, I'm actually from Townsville. I am a farm girl. I'm honestly such a bogan. You know, that's what I'm known for on the team. Like, I'll say something and the girls will just laugh and go, "You are such a bogan." So netball started for me at school. We had this thing called Friday Sport where we got a chunk out of our day to play sport, and it changed every term. So you got to try everything. So I did touch one term, basketball, but netball was the one that always really stuck with me. And the story with netball is I started as a goal shooter, and we were in a grand final for our Friday Sport, and we were down by 7 goals, and we just started making this comeback, like these little 10-year-olds fighting back. So what happened was, you know, we were a bit down in the dumps, like we were all standing there with, you know, not so much resistance at resilience at 10 years old. And, you know, we're all pretty bummed that we were losing. And then our school friends all came to the game late and sat on the sidelines. And then every time we got a goal, they started cheering. And then we ended up coming back, and the goal attack, I was playing goal shooter. She shot a goal and the buzzer went off and everyone was going, "Yay!" But it didn't count. So we lost the game by 1. But I just remember after that game thinking, wow, this is awesome. I really love the sport. And then, yeah, I've been playing ever since.
Now, of course, I think we figured out what position you played on the court multiple times. So the question I want to ask you is, do you have a preferred position where you love to convince your coaches to put you next year?
Yeah, so I definitely do love goal attack. I think goal shooter, if I was better at holding, maybe, but I'm not very good at holding space. So I'd say I'm a goal attack. In terms of the new position, wing attack, I think the only reason I don't love it yet is because I haven't been good at it straight away. And, you know, being a sports player, we're often perfectionists and want everything to be, you know, A+ standard. So I think if I had a bit more time in wing attack, I'd probably love that as well. But I definitely do prefer goal attack for sure.
I know this is also going to be the most silliest question I'm going to ask, but do you have any netball highlights throughout your netball journey?
Probably these 2 championships, to be honest. I did rep netball when I was about 11, like played for North Queensland, but after that it was all just sort of school netball. So when I moved down to Brisbane, I thought that I was pretty far behind compared to the city kids who had been playing rep. And I honestly do still think I'm catching up. Like, everyone's pretty clever. So yeah, just, you know, playing at this level and winning these champs back to back, probably for me, yeah, it would be the highlight.
What does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially playing the Carina Tigers?
Yeah, so netball for me is really, I'd say it's really good for my mental health. Like, a lot of us in our team are students, and uni can be pretty stressful, and, you know, working. Netball's just sort of that outlet. You're never thinking about anything other than netball during the game. Like, you're always thinking about the next play, and afterwards you feel great. Like, you get those endorphins going. And our club, they've done so much for me, honestly. It's more like a family, and that sounds very cliche, but it honestly is. If someone has a family death within the club, everyone really comes together. We really celebrate individual successes, like when someone makes a team. We get together whenever we can as well to have dinners and go out for drinks if it's off season. Yeah, it's a really special group.
Considering what you've already achieved already, Is there any other goals that you want to set yourself going into the future?
I honestly, like I said, trying to play catch up a little bit. I'm very intrinsically motivated. Now that I've gotten older, I sort of take things year by year. And honestly, my main goal is to just get better and better. And if that takes me to the next level, then it does. Yeah, I just sort of take it year by year. At the end of every season, to be honest, because it's so mentally challenging to train and do gym and stuff, at the end of every year, I'm so ready for a break. And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do another year? But I miss it after a bit. So yeah, I just take it year by year.
And is going to the Sapphire Series team something you want to do?
Yeah, hopefully. That's what I'm working towards at the moment. So we will see what happens. I don't think we find out until February. So yeah.
What would be your advice to our listeners, especially in Brisbane, that should get down and play netball in Brisbane East, or obviously with the Tigers?
How do I say this without sounding biased? Come to our club. We welcome everyone with open arms. Honestly, we had a team meeting the other week and there was a young girl and I was asking her how old she was because you never know in netball, honestly, with the gangly long limbs. Yeah, so I asked her and she said she was 15 and I was just thinking, gosh, if I was 15 coming to play with these ladies, I'd be so scared. So, I mean, I just put myself in people's shoes and I know all the other girls do as well, which is why we have such a good culture, is to welcome everyone with open arms and just, yeah, treat them how we'd want to be treated, all that jazz, and work hard when we train to get the results.
Now, let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates there. Now, tell us, who had the most embarrassing moment on the court this season and what was it?
You know what? It would be myself or Maddie Ryan. We are always on the floor. Seriously, except with Maddie, she normally gets hit over or something. With me, it's me tripping over my own feet or looking somewhere, not realizing where I am, and then I'm on the floor. I'm so uncoordinated. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if Maddie says the same thing later this week about herself, of course. Now, you just mentioned about who's the comedian in the team. You mentioned that earlier when you did describe the play in my previous question. So my next question after that is, I know there's this social media thing called TikTok. So the question I want to ask you is, who's the best singer and dancer in the team, firstly?
Okay. The best singer is Maddie Ryan. She has a really good singing voice. The best dancer would be the Child Sisters. They love their TikToks and, they're always trying to teach people, but they're the ones that are the best at it for sure.
Well, just answered my question about who uses TikTok the most. So my next question I'm going to ask is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Yes, I do. So I wear the same sports bra every time I play. I normally always eat the same thing, which is spaghetti bolognese. And I always have my AirPods in, listening to music. Another thing that people think is a superstition for me is I always wear a headband, which is honestly just to keep the sweat out of my eyes. But I lost it one week and I didn't wear it to the game the other week. And everyone was saying, oh my gosh, where's your headband? Like, you need it for the game. And like, I looked pretty funny without it. So that must be one of my sort of trademark Tash Robinson things as well, I guess, before a game.
How was the Premiership celebrations afterwards back at the Leeds Club?
Yes. So honestly, I had work the next morning. The plan was that we were going to go out, but I think everyone just had some pretty quiet drinks and we were just enjoying each other's company, having good food, laughing a bit. Yeah, it wasn't a very late night for any of us.
Now, of course, you mentioned about sponsors. Did you have a player sponsor this year?
Yeah, I actually did. So My father works for a drilling company in Africa called Drill, and their CEO, his name is Dave Harper, gives me a lump sum every year, which I use for everything from netball shoes to training with a sports scientist, physiotherapy, massage. He pays for my private health insurance. So yeah, that has honestly been a massive help, and has made all the difference for me in terms of having one less thing to worry about, especially being a student. It just meant that all I had to worry about was training hard and making the company proud and making them not regret giving me that lump sum of money.
Two final ones before I let you go. Is there anyone on the team that just plainly forgetful?
Probably me again. Honestly, sometimes I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. That's why if I left someone out of the team before, I wouldn't be surprised, but they'll know that they shouldn't take it personally because I'm that bad. So yeah.
Describe your Premiership team, the Ruby Series team, as many words as you like.
Okay. I would say fun, athletic, tenacious, strong, and united.
Well, Tash, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us and talk a bit about your amazing Carina Tigers Ruby Series Premiership team, and especially the season that was, and obviously back-to-back Premiership as well. And can't wait to hopefully come up to Queensland next year and hopefully get to watch you and your teammates in action as you're trying to go for a three-peat and maybe a start of a dynasty there at the Tigers.
Yeah, can't wait to see you. Hopefully you can come up. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great afternoon.
No worries. And that's Tash Robinson there, joining us from the Carina Tigers Ruby Series Premiership netball team. Of course, they won the Premiership over the Cougars about a month and a half ago now. They're at Nissan Arena. Of course, if you want to be involved with the Tigers, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can go about getting involved with the Tigers, either playing or, of course, you can support them and sponsor them as well, which we'll put all the details up on how you can go about that next year. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Wednesday edition.